I am Marcus James Dixon, and we are here with The Boys executive producer, showrunner, director Eric Kripke, and Antony Starr, who plays Homelander. First of all, hello to both of you. How are you guys
Hey
doing?
man. Hey, good. Really good. Glad to be here.
Well, Eric, let's dive into all things season four, um, which aired this summer on Prime Video. The Boys has always dabbled in politics, but this year it seemed like there were even more allusions to our political world. What can you tell us about that aspect of the show?
Um, you know, I'll say this, like I don't there wasn't so much of an intentional acceleration or expansion of the politics in the show. I think the show's been political from the beginning, and
Oh,
we always
yeah.
try to be a funhouse mirror reflection of what, we think is going on in the world and ask some questions. um, you know, Built into the mythology from way, way back was the notion of Vought and Homelander trying to get control of the White House. It's we introduce Victoria Newman in episode 1 of season 2, and her role, it's Vic Newman in the books, it's a man, but the role in the comic book is that person is worming their way into the presidency, and then Vought will control them. So it's one of like the big meta stories from the books. Look, I think it's coincidental, in not the best way, maybe that it happened to be airing, that lineup of where it fell in the seasons happened to be airing during the same year as a presidential election. But like, look, I'm proud of our superhero show being one of the most current shows on TV. I think that's no small feat for a fantasy adventure. And we're just kind of predicting things the way the Simpsons do because we're just satirizing the world we think we're living in.
Antony, anything you want to add about the political nature of The Boys?
Not particularly. I think he summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
No, yeah, like you said, it's always been there. It's just his crystal ball works. You know.
Mhm. Well, I want to talk about Homelander in season four, particularly. I mean, he went to new depths this year when he visited the Vought lab that he raised him and he tortures the doctors that experimented on him. How challenging was that episode to do as an actor? Because you had to go to some really dark places.
You say torture, I say therapy. Both T words, but just a different tangent. But I think that was my approach from the moment I got the material. I was like, oh, this is a therapy session. This is Homie's version of therapy. And I think so. We wanted to, in my head, like, you go in not really knowing how you feel, and you have these experiences, exercise some demons, and then come out feeling pretty chuffed about the work you've done and what you've achieved internally. And it was I had some ideas to mix in. I knew that I wanted to be able to set up a base and just go in and see what happened. Which is a little spooky to do because we're working at a fair clip, and if what the choices you're making aren't working, it can be a pretty horrible place to be. But I also think that's where the spontaneity and living in that moment where it might go south is the most enjoyable. That's where I love to be, and I'm lucky. This we're afforded that a lot on this show. So really, we nutted around some ideas and went in and just played, and it was fun. I mean, I love going to the darker areas because
Mhm.
the expression you get to do on stage what you never get to do in real life, and there's a safety net that it's not real, obviously. So you get to go to these very weirdly cathartic places sometimes, and just let rip. And there's some pretty horrible things. Every now and then you've got to apologize to someone afterwards and say, I'm really sorry. I didn't write it. This guy wrote it. But for the most part, we've got a great creative team in there, and everyone knows, you know, there's no line crossing. It's all a very respectful experience. So I loved it.
We are at awards website here at Gold Derby, and I mean, Eric, what do we have to do to get Antony nominated at the Emmy Awards? I mean, this performance is one for the ages.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. You know, look, I think you know, Ant and I both have hard times absorbing compliments.
Yeah,
it's a deep-seated damage in both of our lives. But look, man, he's doing some of the best, you know, some of the best work on TV right now, and is in a all-timer list of great antagonists, and he just makes it so real and complicated and weirdly vulnerable at times, and just human. And you know, we've always said, you know, as we're working on the character together, you know, you don't have to sympathize, but you do have to empathize. And you have to understand where he's coming from and why he's doing what he's doing.
No excuses but reasons.
Right, exactly. And that he's the hero of his own story. It's just a really twisted story. And I think Ant delivers all of that and more. I mean, I think just, you know, anyone who's out there in Emmy land, like, just watch 404. Like, watch the work this guy is doing in every episode. And yes, he is, in my humble opinion, long overdue for some recognition. It's not the reason we do it. I know.
Yeah.
Everyone goes like, it's not the reason we do it until they're
Yeah.
nominated. And they're like, holy shit, I got nominated.
They don't mean anything until you're nominated.
Until you're nominated.
And then you don't win. And then they don't mean
then
anything
it's still
again.
right. Right.
I mean, it's fun to put on the suit and go to the show. You got nominated at the Critics' Choice Awards last year, which must have been a fun experience, right?
Yeah, I love them. They've been very generous to us and to me. So I'm a big fan of Critics' Choice. And I went to the Emmys. I presented at the Emmys this year, and that was fun. It was a great time. Everyone looked very dapper. Hollywood showed up very, very crisp. So, you know, hopefully the show gets in the.
So, Eric, we had some new characters introduced in season 4. We had Firecracker, we had Sage. What dynamics did these two strong females bring to the 7?
You know, I'll take it one at a time. I mean, Sage came from a couple notions, which is there is a superhero trope of just like the smartest person in the world, and they're always using their smarts to like be heroic and save mankind. And that's just the last thing that would happen if you were the smartest person in the world. You would just be miserable. You'd be the most unhappy person on the planet. And we always said, like, okay, what's the 7? We always talk about in the writer's room, what's the 7 missing? And one thing that came up is like, one thing that inhibits Homelander is he's basically surrounded by idiots, you know, like they fail a lot. And what would happen if you actually gave him the world's smartest person? And, you know, and he'd have to wrestle with his ego, of course, in front of her, and that'll eventually get the best of him. But that's a dangerous Homelander who has someone as smart as she is. Firecracker was sort of born of the notion that things that were the craziest, most fringy things like 2 to 3 years ago are now completely in the mainstream. And we just sort of wanted to make that point. So, you know, the QAnon stuff and, you know, all this stuff that now is sort of being, you know, shot out to millions of people on social media daily, and a character who kind of came from that world. But, you know, huge props to Valerie and Susan, who like so brought those characters to life and just it's not easy to jump into a show in your 4th season and make yourself indispensable. And they both managed to do that. And they just do this beautiful thing where Sage is all head and Firecrackers All Heart, and the conflict that they have is as they're fighting for this one's affection is so fun to watch and delicious. So they're an amazing addition to the team.
Antony, what do you think about the new characters and how they had different relationships with Homelander? Both of them did.
I love it. I think the push-pull with like that Eric just mentioned is, anything that creates tension within the characters' relationships, within the seven, I'm into. And because structurally the show was a little different last season with for 3 seasons we had Annie Starlight basically playing the British spy in the Nazi headquarters, right? And then she was removed. So that it's sort of that, and that's the first time that it happened, obviously. So that really adjusted, the nature of what we were doing in the show. And having those guys come in just brought so much fresh material, so much new territory to farm and to dig into. So I loved it, and I think the thing, like Eric said, I've gone on to shows season 3, season 4, and it's really difficult to walk in, and I think having done that, it's very easy to fall into a hope everyone likes me kind of thing. You just want to be accepted. And they were accepted, and the reason they were accepted primarily because you don't know each other. They seem lovely, but the thing that they brought in was just such a fantastic work ethic and a creative openness that just right off the bat, we were playing tennis, hitting the ball hard, and that just makes it, the respect is automatic. They're super talented, that goes without saying almost, but they did a phenomenal job, and it just allows that kind of open creativity allows you to grow the character and relationships so much with so much more fluidity, and take risks. We could take risks. Right at the first scene I had with Firecracker with Val, was when she was meant to get fresh with Homelander with me. And I think she was very polite. She said, "Do you mind if I do this?" And I was like, "No, go for it." And next thing she's like, it was the scene when she's like, "I'll do anything for you." Anything, anything. And it got super weird. And I'm standing there going, what? And it was really unexpected. And it's the kind of improvisational scripted moments. The script feels improvisation, which is a great place. Again, I come back to that great place of where we sit performance-wise, where we're allowed to do that. And they just slotted in, both of them. Just amazing. Yeah.
So Eric, you directed the season 4 finale, which when I think back to that episode, the scene that comes to mind is Starlight versus Starlight, Erin fighting herself down in the bunker. Was that the most challenging scene? If not, what was for you?
What a great question. I mean, look, it's all challenging and it's all fun. That particular scene, was just required an incredible amount of pre-planning and figuring it out. It takes it's a team sport, I will say that, like, between John Coyam, our stunt coordinator, and Stephen Fleet, our VFX guru, and just everyone working in concert, to give you a good example. And Aaron, I mean, Aaron, in those couple days, we had to map it out with our AD, where it's like, okay, she shoots this much as Annie, and then she has to change, and then she has to shoot this much as the shifter, and then she has to change, and then she has to shoot this much as Annie, and she had to leapfrog back and forth and carry the different mannerisms of the different characters as we're rushing to make the day and not get confused. So it was a remarkable performance. And like in that particular fight, that's a really challenging, because I really wanted the thing where, like, you're not just over people's shoulders and that they're doubles. I wanted to see in a fight that they were actually hitting each other. And the way we pulled that off is actually quite simple. You have a motion control camera that's doing the exact same move every time, like on just scientifically to the millimeter, it's doing the exact same move. So you film it once with one Annie who's punching thin air and taking hits from thin air, just from the rehearsal, like a dance with a click track. And then you shoot the shifter Annie taking the hits and throwing the punches, but having to land them exactly right in 3-dimensional space to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Then like we combine them and we're looking, we're at the monitors, like combining them, like which one lines up perfectly with the other one. Where does she have to lift the next time, lift your fist 2 more inches when you throw, it's like really technical and brutal. And she was just such a champ. I think we did 40 takes of either side, just to get exactly the right hits that she's giving herself. So it's just a lot of sweat and tears that go into something like that. And then I'll also say that but way more impressive than that is the performance she brings to the scene where they have a dramatic scene together. And she really created that character. I had different original notions of what I thought the shifter would be, which was like much more like lizard-like and still and serpentine. And she had this great notion of like, she just wanted the character to be, a little reckless and have fun and enjoy the moment a lot more. And it was just a really beautiful performance. And it's no small thing playing 2 different characters in the same scene with different ways of walking and moving and different facial expressions, and being able to pull that off is hard. I mean, this guy has done it a few times too. It's really difficult.
I did a show where I played twins for 6 years.
Wow.
Not to brag, but no, I'd say the reason I actually bring that up is because as I'm listening to you, I'm like, yeah, because this was in New Zealand, so the budget's like tiny. So we just use doubles and over shoulders and a split screen now and then.
Yeah.
But because I saw that come out in the scripts and I was like, oof, she's got her work cut out with that fight, and knowing also the technicality. I didn't know how you guys did that, actually. That was interesting. But the technical side of it over here with I was blown away when I saw the result.
Yeah.
Obviously I wasn't there on the day, but magnificent stuff. Thanks.
So Antony, earlier Eric made you uncomfortable saying how good you are as an actor. Is there anything you would like to repay him now, talking about his directing style?
It'd be the best if you're like, no, I'm good. Yeah. I don't want to make him uncomfortable.
I don't want to make him upset. Man, first of all, I want to say, it's not just about being the director. This show running thing, we don't have showrunners in New Zealand, for the record. So I think it's a phenomenally hard job, and I've been on a few shows over here now, so I've seen different people doing it, and and I got a few friends that run shows as well. The number of caps you've got to be able to wear is staggering, and to be able to wear them well is a whole nother thing. And I think I haven't met anyone who's got such a complete take on every cap fits perfectly. And it's a really rare thing. And I think I don't know when you sleep, but I know you work incredibly hard, because we've got now what, 4 shows now? Well, there's
3 and then
3
1 in
and
development.
3 and 1 in development. So first of all, I don't know anyone with a work ethic like that pushes themselves like that. But also, there's a level of humanity that you need to have to be to be a good boss, in my opinion. Bosses, your vision is nothing if you can't get the team organized and helping and inspired to deliver it. And it's a testament. This entire show and the universe that's being created around it is a testament to. I mean, there's no one else. He's God of the shows. So it's like, luckily we have a benevolent God.
Mostly.
Yeah. But Yeah, I mean, everyone's nice to the actors always.
Right? Everyone's nice to the actor.
Mhm.
Oh, but it's true. Like, having you on set as whether you're up there just as a producer and someone else is directing, but I love it when you're directing, but because you have free reign, you're not avoiding treading on the toes of the director. And we can just try things in the moment. We can just do whatever we want without questioning. So I love it from that perspective, but also, the collaboration that we've been able to have, I haven't had anything like it. It's just, it's great. I mean,
Mhm.
we nut around all the scenes that I'm involved with a lot if there's any ideas. And I've met a lot of people, a lot of writers, a lot of showrunners, not a lot of showrunners, but some that have said, yeah, my door's always open. What they really mean is don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. But true to his word, it's just been such a great creative exchange. And it's super inspiring. It makes you want to work harder. It makes you want to, cry, sweat, bleed for the job, for the character, for the team, for him. And I can tell you now, I think I know everyone will walk on hot coals for him. So, it's feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
Okay, I'm done. But it's I feel, I'm sad that the show is ending. I think it's the right time to end.
Mhm.
I never want to do what I've done on a show that shall not be mentioned, where we came back for the tacky for the wrong reasons, and it was ugly, and we're going to go out in a really good place. I've seen now some of the scripts in season 5, and it's off to a rip-roaring start. So we're going to go out on top, which I think is great, and we know that it's ending, so we have a chance to really savor it. And for me personally, I'm looking forward to jumping back into it for one last round.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm done.
I like that word sad because that's how I feel too. But I'm also excited to see what you guys have planned for the last several episodes here. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. We have our fingers crossed at the upcoming award shows for both of you and for everyone involved. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. That was
Thanks,
fun.
man.
Thank you.
You.